All right, welcome back to High Five. And no, we're not in the shop today. We're actually in the living room because we're gonna transform this big, long, boring wall into something super cool. Now, we've been renovating our house for several years now, and we've got this big wall that I just don't like. So we're gonna do a board and batten across the entire wall, including framing out the door over there. I'm pretty excited for this one. Let's get started. Now, the first thing that we have to do is remove the door frame off the wall. I'm using a pry bar, and luckily for me, it was only pin held into place. And this makes for a pretty quick process.
Hi.
Now, due to our walls being very uneven, I'm having to do the door frame one side at a time, and I'm gonna shim along the side as I go. The actual right side is about an 1/8 inch off the wall, so it's a pretty big gap. So we're gonna have some cedar fillers for that. So I'll get the left side done, the right side, I'll measure for the top, and then I'll put the top on. And I'm a big advocate of teaching and having your kids help out in any house project. Once we finish the door frame, we're gonna go ahead and do the top of the wall, the bottom of the wall, and the left and the right, and that'll help frame out the wall. And then we can start working on our measurements for our vertical pieces. To attach the wood to the wall, I'm gonna go ahead and caulk the back side of it, and then pin nail them in place. If you want to make sure that your vertical pieces are perfectly aligned on the wall, you can take your entire wall space, divide it by the width of all of the wood that you're going to use, and that'll give you your spacing. Now, for me, that would not work because I do have outlets that are in the way. So I'm actually going to do 24 inches off of the left wall for 2 panels, and then the entire wall is going to be 23.5 inches until the very end. And since no wall is perfectly straight, I'm going to measure every one of these individually all the way down the wall. All right, now we've got the entire thing framed from top to bottom and all of our vertical pieces in, including reframing the door to have the same 1x3s across. Now our next step, we're gonna go ahead and put in all of the vertical pieces. And I think for this, we're actually gonna start in the middle. We'll find our spacing, and then we're gonna work out versus one side to the other, because what we don't want is to start over there and then all of a sudden we start going either up or down because one measurement's off or we're not fully square. So we'll start in the middle, then we'll work our way out. I went ahead and used painter's tape here so that I can move the horizontal pieces up and down until we got the spacing that we liked. After that, I would go ahead and make a template, or basically blockers, to ensure I had the entire height of each one of these perfectly all the way down. And now we follow the same process. We go ahead and cut our horizontal boards to size, we caulk them, we shim them, and then we pin nail them in place. Now, pro tip, I've been using 2-inch brad nails for this project, but whenever you're doing the horizontal pieces that's gonna go up the wall where there's electrical, I went ahead and reduced to 1 inch. That way I knew I wouldn't have a lot of penetration through the wall, and then I used extra caulking. All right, now that we've got all of our boards up, you can see that we've got a nice kind of grid pattern here. The next thing I've got to do, I've got to take some spackle. I'm going to fill all of the nail holes and some of the joints. Then we'll come back. We're going to take some caulking. We'll caulk all of it. We'll do a little bit of sanding, and then we can start painting. All right, now that we've got all of the holes filled, all of our joints, now we can go ahead and take some caulking and caulk all of the edges all the way down. Wish me luck. All right, now to move on to our next step, which is sanding. After we've got everything caulked and filled hole-wise, we can go ahead and sand. I'm gonna use two different sanding sponges, a pretty aggressive one and then a pretty fine one. And really, I'm gonna spin the aggressive one right where the joints or the seams come together. I have a little bit more of the spackle there. But now it's time to get dirty, and we're almost there to making this thing look good. Let's go. Now for paint, we're going to use this Behr semi-gloss paint. And when it comes to painting, I really like to cut in my paint. So I'm going to cut in every inside edge of every square on the entire wall. Then I can take my roller and roll inside of every square. And then with the paint left on the roller, I can roll up and down and left and right on the wood. All right, I wanted to pause the video for a second. I want to let you guys know the two tapes that we used for this project. This bright green one is frog tape. We used it on the crown molding and the baseboards and the floor, where I wasn't really worried about pulling off any kind of paint. And then we use this Scotch delicate tape to tape the side of the walls. And it worked really, really well on this wall. This wall, I did get a small bit of paint that came off the wall. And I think it's just because we didn't put much or very many coats on that wall. So the delicate surface paint is super cool. This frog tape is always my favorite. Back to the video. And just like that, we're almost done painting. And if you watched the video this entire time, I want to say thank you. I really appreciate it. If you don't mind, hit that like and subscribe button. Let's wrap this up. All right, there we go. Our accent wall has been completed in the living room. We've got this awesome Board Batten, all color match with this cool dark gray color. It really contrasts the baseboards and the molding, which we kept the same to tie in the whole living room. Now, I still have a couple things left to do. I want to wait for at least another day before I do the outlet covers, light switch covers put back on the wall. And then I've also got to find a way to prevent the couch from sliding into the wall. Because if you guys have kids, you know what I'm talking about. They like to jump onto the couch running as fast as they can. It happens to slide a little bit every time. I've got to work on that. Hopefully you guys enjoyed watching this video. It was a quick and easy one. Hopefully it inspires you to do something pretty cool in your house. Until next time, have a great day.